So Samsung branded their A72 as just being awesome with all of its features, where they have claimed that everything was just awesome. Now, while we all can agree that this tasty macaron looking awesome blue color is indeed awesome and delicious looking, what else is truly awesome about the phone? Now, since I've done the unboxing in my first impressions video, let's dive into the specs. Now, the phone comes with a Snapdragon 720G 8nm chipset with the Adreno 618 GPU, and the variant that I have is the 8GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. And in terms of software, it is backed with Android 11 and it comes shipped with One UI version 3.1 skin. First, let's look at the build quality using this phone daily. So with great colors comes great responsibilities. Well, that is what I initially thought, because while this awesome blue color is hands down the best blue color smartphone that you will ever own, I was worried about if the blue color would be dirtied easily since it had a matte finish, and the good news is that it didn't at all. Coupled with the side glossier plastic frames, it had a nice transition feel to the hands to know that your phone won't be accidentally slipped out of your hands. And since the phone doesn't wobble at all when you're typing it on a surface, that was surely a huge plus. And there's your answer, Ocean 11. Alright, next looking at the phone screen, it has a 6.7-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 1080 by 2400 pixels, which has an FHD Plus display with a refresh rate of 90Hz. And using the phone daily was quite nice, where it did feel very snappy, and the 90Hz refresh rate surely helps in that department. And here is your UFO test, Faizul. Now, while the peak brightness is not as high as a typical flagship, since the phone comes with 800 nits, and yes, it was a super bright afternoon sun where I intentionally browsed through social media and also watched videos under that kind of lighting. Yes, it would be nicer if it had a brighter screen nit, but for a phone within this price range, I did not mind it at all. Now, also worth mentioning is the fact that the adaptive screen brightness was also really great to adjust the screen brightness accordingly, where if I was in the car versus me being out in the sun, it won't bring up the screen to its maximum brightness, where it made the brightness just perfect compared to some smartphones which just tend to bring up the brightness like crazy once it goes in a brighter condition. So now let's look at the cameras. As a recap, the phone comes with a 64MP f1.8 26mm wide lens, an 8MP f2.4 telephoto lens, a 12MP f2.2 ultra wide angle lens, and a 5MP f2.4 macro lens. Then as for the front camera, it has a 32MP f2.2 26mm wide lens. So Samsung usually do not cripple their performances for their A series phones as much as other smartphones do when it comes to their mid-range smartphones, and yes, the same can be said with the Samsung Galaxy A72 as well, where the pictures for the main lens does look very awesome indeed, with nice scene optimization settings and also a great dynamic range. Then the ultra-wide angle lens also performed exceptionally well, as seen over here, with absolutely no barrel distortions at the sides. And what's nice is that the quality for the 3x optical zoom was great, but the digital zoom up to 10x was really good as well. Although I think that the 30x zoom was a great feature, but that is something that you wouldn't upload on your social media pages, but it's nice that it's there. And speaking of what's nice, there is also the macro mode, where if you really want to get close-up shots, you can use that feature, where the image processing for this was heavily improved, where there was a better focus on the subject and no color temperature shift as well. Now, out of all the camera features, there are two features which I felt that the phone was really flagship level. First is the night shots, where although it did not have a dedicated night mode, it still looked really amazing with Samsung's own scene optimizers, and I have to say that I like this better than a typical night mode, which sometimes can make an image look too fake, especially on the skies. So I really loved and appreciated the regular night shots on the phone. So there's your night mode photo shots, Stephen Chung. And as for the second flagship camera smartphone feature, is the amazing selfie shots, where it was surely flagship level, especially on the portrait mode, where if you ask me to just differentiate between this phone from a flagship just by looking at these pictures, you surely couldn't do so. Now as for video, both the rear and the front can record up to 4K UHD at 30 frames per second, where while the image quality was really good, but the image stabilization is way better on 1080p, so you can choose either resolution based on your use cases. And Super Steady mode on 1080p was again very gimbal-like, even when I was moving extremely fast. Then there's also the built-in Snapchat filters within the camera app if you guys are into that. Next, looking at the phone speakers, it comes with stereo speakers, which is nice to know that the A series is consistently having that as of late. Now, Samsung has always produced great smartphone speakers, and this does not disappoint, as it comes with a great volume of 89.6 dB with nice mid-highs and a decent low end as well. And here is a quick sound test. So if you guys are enjoying this video so far, a nice big thumbs up would be very much appreciated, and subscribe to Adam Lobo TV if you haven't done so. That would be very much appreciated. Now as for the phone software, it is backed with Android 11 as mentioned earlier, and it's already shipped with the latest One UI version 3.1. And one could never really experience the true software features of the phone unless you use this One UI version 3.1 daily, because having features like the Google Home feed now at the left swipe of the home screen by default was very sweet. And of course the icons and the brand new fluid navigation system and multitasking was very clean and neat. Now while I know that the fingerprint sensor is not the flagship optical ones, but I did find it to be a little harder to detect your fingerprint sometimes, especially if your fingers are wet or maybe just dirty after doing a little handiwork. But I believe that this could be solved with a further software update, as sometimes it could be very quickly even though when my fingers are wet. But other than that, the overall software experience using the phone daily was totally great. Now on to the best ever, or shall I say the most awesome feature of the phone, which is the phone's battery. The phone comes with 5000 mAh of battery, and using the phone daily got me a massive 7 hours and 1 minute of screen on time when I was at 10% battery with this 90Hz refresh rate, and constantly using the phone to take photos and watching videos, and of course playing games as well, which to me was really mind-blowing. And it has fast charging up to 25 watts, where as seen in my unboxing, it comes shipped together with the phone. Now when it comes to gaming, the phone had no issues playing COD Mobile, and yes, the infamous Genshin Impact, where I did notice a tiny bit warmth during a very gameplay, but the heat was distributed evenly without having any issues slowing down during gameplay. And that is your gaming test, Cerberus91. Now, in conclusion, since the introduction of the A70, Samsung has continued to build their best when it comes to the A series smartphone to be as close as possible to a flagship smartphone, besides having one of the best looking mid-range smartphone as well. My biggest takeaway of the phone is of course the phone's battery, and of course it performs almost like a flagship level phone, which makes you wonder whether or not you really need to buy a flagship smartphone. And with a retail price of 1,899 ringgit, it does seem like it is quite a no-brainer for you guys to get it. And if you're looking to upgrade your current A series smartphone, or even jumping into the Samsung bandwagon for the very first time. And yes, I'll leave links down below for you guys to get yourself one. Alright guys, with this, do let me know what you guys think of the Samsung Galaxy A72 down at the comment section below, and let's discuss over there.